Hey Guy, here is a summary of Night of Secrecy card, rewritten from Sylus's perspective, for those who haven't seen the card but still want to know what it's about.
That's how I ended up at her door. She looked hesitant, almost like she was reconsidering letting me in. Not that I blame her. I don't exactly scream safe house material. But instead of turning me away, she offered me a pair of ill-fitting slippers, probably stolen from some hotel. I slipped them on without complaint. Honestly, I had my eyes on the space, not the shoes. Her home was small, warm, ordinary, and maybe that's why it felt so unfamiliar to me. No tension, no crossfire, just soft lights and quiet. That should have been my first warning. Luke and Kieran were whispering about me before I arrived. They always get twitchy when I go dark, especially when it's this kind of mission, the kind that leaves loose ends and scorched earth. I told her I'd be gone in 3 days. She frowned. She always frowns when I say things like that. But what could I say? That I might not come back? That if I don't, it means I've been erased by something worse than death? Yeah, didn't think she'd like that. The flower I showed her, black-red mist, blooming with our resonance, wasn't just for show. It was a symbol, a warning, a fragile thing that might not survive in my world. Like her. She tried to act casual, tossed me a towel, pushed me into the bathroom. I knew she was up to something, probably checking my phone. Not that she'd find anything. I keep my trails cleaner than most assassins keep their weapons. Still, that encrypted message, the one with no sender, showed up right on cue. When the cabinet clocked me in the head, she rushed over, acting like I was the clumsy one. She blew on the bruise like it would fix everything. And damn if it didn't feel like it might. She didn't ask where I was going, but she wanted to. I could see it in her eyes, that tension between needing to know and being afraid of the answer. We played house for a bit. Grocery shopping, casual dinners, even a plush toy she wouldn't let me keep. I teased her, called it cute. She scowled, said I'd be gone soon anyway, that I always left without saying where or why. I couldn't argue with that. But the thing is, that apartment, her territory, it started to feel like something I didn't want to leave. I caught myself imagining what it would be like to just stay. Just once. Of course, fantasy doesn't last in my line of work. I felt the tales long before she did. Silent shadows watching us too closely. I slipped out that night, cleared some of them out, thought I was being slick. I should have known she'd notice. She always does. The next night, she caught up to me when I tried to leave early. Told me 3 days meant 3 days. Told me being passive wasn't a hunter's way. That woman, she really doesn't pull punches. When things got ugly, we fought back, together. We drove out of the city to one of my off-the-grid properties. I lit the fireplace, tried to tell her to stay behind. She didn't listen. Of course she didn't. Instead, she challenged me to a contest, assembled antique firearms side by side, said the loser had to answer a question. I lost, but instead of asking something dangerous, she just looked at me, eyes soft, and asked, "Can you tuck me in?" I carried her upstairs, and that night, in the warmth of that bedroom, under a sky ready to snow again, I gave in. To the trust in her eyes, to the fire in her touch, to the rare peace of not running. We didn't need words. Our bodies spoke enough. Desperate, greedy, soft, then rough, then soft again. I teased. She pushed back. The hunter refused to be passive. She thought she had the upper hand. I let her think so. For a while. By morning, she was gone. For a second, I thought maybe she had vanished, that it was a dream. that I'd chased her away like I always do. But then the horn outside blasted, and there she was, behind the wheel, snow in her hair, tickets in hand. "You're slow," she said. "We'll miss the flight." She had planned it all along. "Do you really want to do this?" I asked. Her smile was fearless. "When you're around, there's nothing to be afraid of." For once, I didn't have a comeback, just a kiss, one that said more than I ever could. So I got in the car, and we drove into the snow, side by side, not as a leader and his shelter, but as two souls, reckless enough to believe they could fight the dark together.